the Ooni of Ife and his queen, should I still call her queen? Well, soon to be, probably ex-queen already, Shilekonla Naomi Ogunwusi have parted ways 3 years after marriage and barely a year after the birth of the prince. In a very lengthy post on Instagram, Queen Shilekonla, who is also a prophetess, she started a ministry, an evangelical ministry at the age of 18 in Akure, Ondo State. She took to her Instagram, a social media platform, basically to share a very lengthy post telling us how and why she has decided to end a relationship or marriage with the king. This, Megan Good and Devon Franklin, Hollywood, if you don't know that, don't worry. I just wanted to make a reference because her post was a little bit vague and very diplomatic, and she tried as much as possible to not say something bad about the king, compared to when the former queen, Queen Wuraola Otiti, that Benin queen, left the palace, and she said a lot of scandalous things concerning the king. Shilekonla tried to make it seem like there was no problem. Let me give you a little snippet of the things that she said. Some of the things I took from that write-up though. First off, she was like, okay, contrary to what everybody was saying, she did not say she had a revelation. She didn't go to approach the king because, when in 2018, Oba Adeyeye Ogunwusi Ojaja II, the Ooni of Ife, revealed that he was taking a new bride and she was a prophetess. People were like, okay, something fishy is going on. A lot of speculation started happening. Some saying it was this big, this big prophetess, I can't remember her name now, that introduced why do I keep calling her Wuraola? Wuraola is the first queen, the second queen rather. That it was that lady that introduced prophetess Naomi to the king. She first debunked that. She actually never tried to debunk any rumors concerning her since the ascension of the queenship title, right, since she became a queen. But she said, first off, that woman did not introduce them. Second off, she said she's not had this child before, and that the prince that she bore for the king is her first child. She's 28 years old and she's been a prophetess all her life, so I kind of believe that she's not had a child before. That the lady we've been seeing with her is her niece, and she's not had a child before. Then she said something that I personally am going to hold on to. She said, because, no, personal sentiments aside, let me continue with what Queen said. She said that she has realized that she could no longer continue with the facade and keeping up with the struggles behind closed doors because, according to her, the king has a particular image he tries to portray in public, and there is another one that he shows in private, and that one is what she refers to as his true self, meaning that the king is a different person from what we see in public, and the person in private is somebody that she cannot live with, and therefore she has decided at that moment, the time of the write-up, sending the write-up to public, to stop whatever relationship there is between herself and the king, meaning that she's going back to being a prophetess to Akure, Ondo State, to continue, her ministry work and all of those things. However, since they have a child together, she made reference to the prince. She said she believes that her mission in the king's palace was to bear him a child because, before the king ascended the throne, he had a child at the age of 19. He was a teen dad. Then subsequently he got married from 2008 to 2016, and this woman did not bear a child. Then he put her away and married the Benin king, the Benin lady, Queen Wuraola, right, or Titi, and that also broke up. She didn't bear a child too between 2016 and 2018. Then in 2018, October was when he married Princess Queen Naomi, and Queen Naomi bore him a child in 2020, meaning that he has just 2 children, one from a very long time relationship. The lady's about 21 years old now because the king is currently 48, 49 years old, and Naomi is 28 years old and she has a child for the queen. So she says that just like, when Saul had a mission to accomplish in the palace, and after his mission finished, that's some biblical references if you do not know, the biblical reference to King Saul and Prophet Samuel, said that God told Samuel to take Saul out of the kingdom because he had done his work. And so she feels like her mission is completed in the palace, and therefore she wants to take her leave and leave the king. Now, Oba Ogunwusi Adeyeye Ojaja II, the Ooni of Ife, ascended his father's throne in 2015, and since then, some good things have happened in the kingdom. You can say that it's been, but when it comes to the home front, the relationship, the marriage, childbearing, it's not been so beautiful for King Ogunwusi, because this is his 3rd marriage and the 3rd woman that will be leaving his palace. But is 48 years old. The prophetess is 28 years old. She was born in 1993, while the king was born in the 1980s. In fact, the ascension of Oba Ogunwusi as the Ooni of Ife was quite contended. In fact, one of the persons that wanted to ascend the throne as at 2015, who wanted to succeed the late Ooni Obasiju Ade when he passed in 2015, was King Adeyeye's older brother. And that even caused a rift in the family, because his older brother was like, you should not try and, you know, compete with me when it comes to ascending of the throne. I already signified interest as the elder brother. You should have let me just take the throne. However, he, you know, took 13 people were screened for the position, and he won. And he became king, and it was widely celebrated. Of course, the king cannot remain without a wife, I guess. So shortly after the divorce is going to be, because I've been told, reports have it that you can't just leave the palace. I mean, there has to be some proper divorce proceedings. You need to be legally, divorced because as a king or something like that. He needs to be sure that there is nobody married to him. Because even Queen Naomi in her write-up said it. She said that contrary to what other people are saying, she's not leaving the palace because the king has decided to take another woman, or because because he's married to another. Because there was time they said that he has married an accountant. She said that until the time of her departure from the palace, she can say it boldly that she's the only woman married to the king. Now, I took note of that. She said married to the king, not like the only woman in his life, as is, you get. So I feel like maybe there's some other women, somehow. This is just speculation on my part, because when Queen Zainab Burawala was leaving the palace, she said that the king has an history of bringing other women, maybe not into the palace, but into his bed. Maybe not the bed he sleeps in the palace, but into his bed. And that was one of the reasons she left the palace. But Queen Naomi said that she's the only person married to him. That does not nullify the fact that there could be some other women. That does not nullify the fact that there could be some other problems in the marriage, because she insinuated that there are some very deep things going on in the marriage, in the private life, private quarters of King Ogunwusi Adeyeye Ojaja too, that we do not know of, and that is the reason she is leaving the palace. Now, what will become of Queen Naomi after? Because some people say that once you're married to a king, no other person can be married to you, because when Queen Naomi wanted to, come into the palace, lots of rites were performed as a new bride, lots of rites, lots of proceedings, and a lot of traditional processions and rites were performed before she became queen. And it's like, now that she's no longer queen, they have to do some rites to take away the covenant, so to say, that she has established with the king. Or, the co-parenting also, it's not going to be easy to be co-parenting with the Ooni of Ife. And another man might want to marry him, like, hey, your son's stepdad is, your son's dad, that you're going to be a stepdad too, is the Ooni of Ife. So let me know what to think will become of Queen Naomi. Of course, I know that she's going to go back to being a prophetess. She never left, her evangelical ministry. She's going to definitely go back to being that. But I want to hear from you in the comment section. What do you think could be the reason, for the divorce, the separation of Queen Naomi and King Adeyeye Ogunwusi? And do you think the king is going to be taking another wife anytime soon? This is just some 5-6 years into his reign as the Oba, and he's had 3 wives already. That's some history then. I would love to hear from you in the comment section. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.